Where has the most growth? If you look back in your whole career, where you've had the biggest amount of growth?
I think the reality is the growth came like long after the activity. So you almost like black it out. And people oftentimes see the growth and they're like, what did you do last week that attributed to that? And you're like, dude, that's not how this works. I think the other thing is people discount all the small millions of decisions you make on a regular basis, including just like what are your habits? So like when I'm going to bed on a regular interval and getting up at the same time, like I know I'm more likely to have incredible performance in a day. Whereas if I provide myself with no structure, I know I'm gonna probably just have lesser performance. If I think about, do I make my bed? Do I put my clothes out the night before? Like there's certain things about like when I'm time boxing and like writing out, like even if it's already in the calendar, one of the best habits that I don't actively do all the time, but I know my best performance now, more recently, is when I...
Success is trained. You're not born into it, you're made into it. It's either succeed or die.
I had almost $100,000 in student loan. In the moment, it seems hard. I paid it off completely.
When people give up on their pursuit of what they want for themselves, it's a form of arrogance.
I always feel like I had like a deep desire to be great.
Any entrepreneur, go get it.
You fucking want it and you deserve it. Welcome to Take the Power Back. I am delighted today to have Sino, affectionately known as Carolyn Nolan. Lowney. I'll probably screw that up a couple of times.
That's okay.
Yeah, Carolyn and I go back a long time. So probably 2004. So I've known Carolyn for 20 years.
We're old.
Well, I'm older than you.
Yeah.
But yes, we are old.
It's fun. I think it's fun.
It really is. It really is. Well, thank you first and foremost to come into the Greatness Lab, Greatness Factory, whatever we want to call it here today, to do this. This is the first live one that you've done, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool.
It's fun. It's fun. We're in Nashville. It's cold, but you're used to it.
It's not cold. I'm a Boston girl.
You are a Boston
I brought my
girl.
coat. I was like, I don't need this.
I don't need
this. This is not cold, Jason.
That's
Florida
fair.
man.
I am, but my hands are literally blue. That's why they're under the table.
You can take my coat.
Well, thank you. I'll probably
You're welcome.
I guess so. Let's get into it. Carolyn, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do today? So let's start in the present. Who is Sino Carolyn Nolan?
So unlike the Carolyn Lowney that you met in
Yes.
2004, I'm now a mom.
Yep.
I have 3 littles, 8, 11, and 13.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's like, I can't even remember, but I do remember when I think of memories of us back in 2004 in those days of what life was like before kids. And it's one of those things that once you have kids, you can't even remember, you can't even imagine. But you go to pictures and you're like, oh, remember when?
I remember those days.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so it's just a different kind of crazy now. I live in the burbs.
I don't know if is it Winchester?
I live in Winchester. It's just north of the city of Boston. It's the
beautiful.
burbs.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's not that different from the town I grew up in, but it's now north of the city. I grew up south of the city in Milton. So I have 3 little kids. I have a 10-month-old puppy.
Cute.
I'm the visionary of TNG Private Wealth,
Yeah.
which is the practice that I started with you, basically,
Yeah.
or under your leadership right out of college when I studied psychology and Italian. So obviously I became a financial advisor.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And those kind of go together, actually.
I mean, it was, again, we've talked about like, was it a plan? No, it wasn't a plan, but it was actually perfect preparation because my intrigue has always been people and why do we do what we do? And it's not that I studied it and I learned it, but I just was studying what I was interested in. And then I ended up, I don't think by chance, it was more of like universe sends you what you're looking for, but I wasn't seeking it. I just needed a job. My parents were like, you need a job. You're off the payroll by September. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And my parents, when I got the job off Monster.com.
Yeah.
And that's when anyone with a pulse could get the job.
Come on. That's not 100%. Maybe it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Well, our industry is like, it's a freaking grind.
It is.
And that's when like wait till you see the little gift I got you. I'm going to give you a little heads up. It involves it involves Y-cording.
Oh, I love Y-cords.
I know. Wait till you see what I got you.
I'm going to use it.
You are the Y-cord king.
I
Wait
am.
till you see what I got you. But it was a totally different environment, and I don't think you can ever say it's better, worse, harder, easier. It's just different. And it was different. But we used to cold call people, and we did all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And we had no salary. And I was like, I remember being at the interview and you and Larry, our leaders, being like, and it can, most people fail out. And I was like, not me.
Not this guy. No, girl.
And my friends and my parents included, from a place of genuine care, were like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And I was like, this sounds great. Sign me up.
I'm in.
Sign me up.
No
and
salary.
it was, and it was when I went in for the interview that I run into Pete, it's my girlfriend's sister's now husband. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I just got to get a job.
Yeah.
He's like, I work here. I'm like, I don't remember where you work.
Yeah.
And he locks me in his office and is like, you need to do this. If you like it, it'll change your life and you'll change other people's lives. And you have this unlimited opportunity. And if you hate it, you'll be 23 and do something else. And I was like, sounds reasonable.
Sign me up.
But then, I have 2 speeds. And it was like, someone tells us you got to book 14 meetings. And I was like, so what will happen if I book 20?
Imagine that.
So that's just what I did. And I had a little whiteboard and I just would tick it off. But I almost got fired in the beginning because I couldn't get my parents were my 5th client I had to get.
I remember that. 5 clients were out.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't think I'm good at this. But I was just dumb enough or smart enough to keep at it and not like get discouraged and just keep trying.
Would you go to school?
I went to Georgetown.
Oh, you went to Georgetown.
I went to Georgetown. I was originally a bio pre-med. So I'm like a math and science nerd. Like that's I enjoy it, but I also I'm just good at it.
Right.
Like it just makes sense to me. But, and I remember taking accounting but ultimately I'm looking around the people and I'm like, this isn't fun. These aren't like this isn't like the environment that inspires me or excites me. It was like a bunch of like burnt out, stressed out people. And I was like, I'll be in school till I'm like 45. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But I knew I wanted to help people. So in my undergrad, I was like, I'm just going to study what is fun and what I enjoy. And I just threw a bunch of shit on the wall, but I wasn't trying to find a career.
But why psychology? What was the appeal of psychology to you?
You just have to take, it was just one of the requirements to take Psych 101. And I just was so interested, not to be a therapist,
no,
but just fascinated by how people can know something, but end up choosing different behaviors. Like that just generally has always been so interesting to me. And that it's not like 1 + 1 is 2. Like there's like a lot of unknowns. So I like navigating in uncertainty. I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy.
So when you put that piece together, you're like, all right, I went in for biology or whatever that was. Like
Bio pre-med.
Bio pre-med. I don't even know what that is.
Operate on you.
Right? That is a scary thought.
I'm like, whoops.
Oopsies.
Did we leave something in there? Sorry.
You may need that back someday. Then you end up going psychology.
Yeah.
And then you end up using that psychology pretty much every day.
I mean,
today.
Financial advisors, like a great financial advisor is, I'm not going to say is a therapist. Let's be like clear.
Right.
Not therapist.
I always just say I charge extra for therapy. Marriage counseling is extra.
I just think great advisors have genuine care for people and are trying to help them understand and kind of be a mirror for like, tell me what like your Doug Lennockism, like what's your ideal self? And here's like a reflection of your real self.
Right.
And we can do that with money. And a really great advisor goes beyond the money. The money conversation is easy because you're more so assessing like, what are the things you actually want? And what are we doing that's getting us closer or farther away from the things we actually say we want? Just so we can see like, are we getting in our own way? Because usually the answer is yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So talk about what your practice looks like today. So you said TNG stands for.
Well, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
TNG. It originally was the Nolan Group.
Yep.
And then my business partner, and I, we merged our equity in the last couple of years, but we've worked together for 8 years or so, which wasn't a plan.
Right.
You and I have talked about, like, most of my life was not a plan.
Just kind of ebbed and flowed.
Yeah, it was more like throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a plan. It was just following like what felt natural and what felt fun and what felt like it was working organically instead of like forcing it. Just like with like a great friendship. You're not like, I want you to be my friend. And it just naturally just happens because you're like, I like your humor.
Cool,
we like doing the same thing and we value the same things. It's the same thing with a great business partnership too. So we were just roommates at some point. And it naturally evolved. It was not our plan either.
So you say you throw things at the wall and see what sticks, but you've stuck at the same business.
Yeah.
Which is very unusual.
It's super unusual.
Yeah, when people get out of school, it doesn't progress that way.
Yeah, well, I think in part why it worked for me is, again, like the math and science part, like the stuff that people will say with math and numbers and they're like, oh, this makes my brain hurt. I'm like, this is easy for me.
Yeah.
And then I'm so genuinely interested in people and passionate for people getting what they want that I think I just got lucky that I fell into this career. And then I have always challenged everything.
No, I can
like
say that.
Corporate.
Right. Yeah.
And I started, you and I were under a platform that was like you were a W-2, like you still were all commissioned, but they run the P&L. So you really don't have control of who gets hired or what it looks like or what chairs they buy. Right. And once I went to the independent side of the same company, it was like the wild, wild west for me. Yeah. Relatively speaking, that my entrepreneurial
animal before.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And my entrepreneurial spirit was like,
right. When did you know you had the entrepreneurial spirit? Where did that come from?
We were talking about before, it's like I've always had it, but I didn't become really aware of it until probably 10 years into the career path. And then once I got into that, like my energy, once I went on the independent side and was creating my own space and imagining what if and how long before COVID, when it was like work from home and flexible hours, I was like, why can't people work from home if it just makes sense for them? Like, why are we making people schlep from an hour away into like, this is stupid. But I understand that corporations like...
Just talking about me, everybody. I just want you to know. I made everybody schlep all the time.
No. And frankly, Jason, like one of your geniuses that I talk about, I've always talked about with you is how you're just magical at creating culture and getting people eye on the prize on the same goal and rooting each other on and like positive peer pressure. And that's been something I've continually tried to recreate. But different as life went on, especially after becoming a mom, parent, whatever. But my passion is also about empowering women. Because what I saw was that there's so many incredible women that were like dismissing their unique abilities and seeing like, I don't fit in the corporate mold, so I guess I'm just not going to do this. And they just needed an entrepreneurial environment that their voice would be heard. But they understand they'd never vote. It was more of like, oh, they're interested in what I have to say. And so that's where TNG, which started as a Nolan group, but then I was like, this isn't about me, bobblehead Nolan. And I'm like, I think we're going to limit ourselves if that. So we decided, and we actually internally would start saying TNG because it was just an easier acronym.
Right. Yeah.
And then when Jen and I merged, we said it's going to be TNG.
Yeah.
So just like IBM and whatever, other things.
Her last name's Gray?
Her name's Gray. So you could be like the Nolan Gray, but it's not. It's just TNG. It's just TNG. But some of our uniques were women led by design. So part of when we had kids.
Let's stop that one and make sure they catch that. Women led by design.
By design.
Right. Which is important, right?
Yeah. It's a
unique thing.
Yeah, in our industry.
And we're going to talk about that, right?
And, like we started, and when I was 22, and like a 22 little whatever thing out of college, it's kind of fun being in an environment. Like you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yes, yeah.
But then there was also a lot of like bullshit, dismissive stuff when you're doing well of like, oh, are you dating your clients? I'm like, you're gross. Like, Am I doing well? Because I'm just like, and then it would be like a year or two later, the same guy would be asking me, so what do you actually do? I'm like, oh, now you want to know what I do. Interesting.
The scoreboard keeps track.
Yeah, so I found that there was just a lot of distractions, and it's not about, like, it's not this, like, feminist power. Like, I don't associate with those buckets. Like, good luck putting me in a bucket.
Yeah.
Okay?
We talked about that last night.
Yeah, good luck.
There is none.
No. But it's really, when you find not just like someone that's a woman, not just any woman, but when you find the women that think outside of the box and understand like we're better together and they're not competing with each other, like magical shit happens. Right. And Jen and I, my now business partner, again, not by plan design, we are yin and yang, like apples and oranges, whatever. Like they make sense together, but they're totally opposite. And we just happen to organically find each other. And like just listening to each other through the wall that we shared, we recognize we have more in common than not. We have just very different styles and also very different interests. And oh, isn't this interesting? Because generally we tend to navigate with our friends of people that are just like us.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in business.
No.
And that actually,
why? So let's just find that a little bit. Why doesn't that work?
So if you're going to try to put together a team, you need someone that I don't play baseball, but let's just think like if you're creating a baseball team, like you need someone that wants to be the catcher. You need someone that wants to be the pitcher, first, second, third, and they're not like feeling, I don't want to play that position, but I guess I will.
Right.
Like you need people that want to do the position that they want. And generally what happens is you find some people will say, oh, I can't believe someone even likes that. There's someone that likes every part of the business.
Yeah, compliance as an example, right?
Yes.
Some people are great at it. I really want to do that. I want to do that, right?
And I have a new like appreciation and love for compliance in the sense that I had to paradigm shift, but it's not just all compliance, but like our current compliance gal, Catherine, is just a cool chick and like another just cool mom. Yeah. Who's not like busting our chops on stuff, but is trying to protect us. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, they're keeping me out of trouble and keeping me in business. Good, right? Like, good. But she also appreciates and lets me challenge things and will just get me in front of decision makers now. So generally, I think one of the things of where I did well was that when someone would say no, not from a place of questioning, like, why not? I'd be like, really, why not? Like, I don't get it. Why is this a problem? And again, with compliance, some things as you go down, you're like, oh, I see how that's a problem.
I see where that's an issue.
But there's other things that I'm like, this isn't an issue. You just can't figure it out. So you're saying no. So I'm going to keep being like finger in your eyeball.
Let's put something on table.
Until we can keep talking about it. Like you can say not now, but I don't take no as like never. That's just been something I've always been good at.
It's just not yet.
Yeah, it's just not now. I'm like, okay. And sometimes I'm like, no, it actually has to be now. And so that's one of the things with our women practice. There was just a good amount of women that I kept running into that just weren't in the right work conditions to thrive and felt like they had to choose to either be a great business person or employee or whatever, or a great mom and wife, but they couldn't be both. And I was like, this is wicked dumb. Why do you have to, I'm from Boston. Yeah. Wicked dumb. But like, why do you have to pick one? Right. What's like you with this or that? Like you can do both but most work environments, that doesn't work.
Why do you think women in general, well, I have observed your practice and growth and many others that we know that are in common. They do better. Women that stick it out do better, but there's a lot of them that just don't. Why do you think that some women label themselves as mom or business owner rather than mom and business owner or whatever that may be? Why do you think they don't make it why do you think it's so dominated by men?
I think it's still pretty new that it's acceptable. So if you meet like some older women in our industry, they're still like they're like scarred still from the environment they used to have to work in like the 80s and 90s. And, you know, they tell you stories that you can't even imagine of like, you weren't allowed to go to the office if you weren't wearing a pencil skirt. And I'm like, what?
Didn't you have a pink pencil skirt?
I had a pink Victoria's Secret suit, Jason.
I was going to say, I think it was a pencil skirt.
But I wasn't required to. I was just
That's true. You're like, I'm going to wear this.
I was like, all right,
thing.
You want me to wear a suit?
I'm going to rock this.
Because I'm 22 and this little thing. And I'm going to. But, you know, the truth is, I was performing. I was like trying on different things to see like what felt comfortable. And that wasn't really me. I remember even getting a car because we used to go to people's homes and like the car was also part of the act.
Yeah.
It was like, what are people going to witness? And now I'm just like,
who cares?
Now I wear things because I like them.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, I don't really care because I'm not doing it for you.
No, nobody's going to people shouldn't judge people by what they wear, but you have to have a certain level of credibility, right? Credibility. You have to give credibility.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, but I think the sooner, because it was pretty early on in the career that it was, and I like distinctly remember the meeting with Rebecca and Paul, and I was dressed just generally more casual. Like it for sure wasn't a suit, but it wasn't it wasn't what I would wear now. Like this is kind of dressy for me.
Yeah, it's a cool.
I dressed up for you. No, it's cool.
she dressed up for you. No, you didn't.
But I don't dress like this on a normal day. And it's cute because it's my 13-year-old daughter who's like, Mom, can you please dress like the other moms? I just don't give a shit about fitting in with other people. I just do what I like to do. But sometimes it feels nice to try to wear these different parts of you and but it's not performing. It's pulling out the different parts of you. And then, I'll go home and I made sure to bring my slippers to the hotel and my cozy jammies because that's what I want when I go back. But I remember distinctly being in this meeting and it was probably something more along the lines of this or like a sweater. And these clients out of nowhere, Rebecca stops me and she's like, I just want to tell you, you just look more comfortable. And I just like felt compelled to say that to you. And I like never forgot that because it was like permission to be myself.
Yeah.
And I found that when you stopped acting or like there were these other layers, it's almost like feeling like you have to put on tons of makeup or something all the time. Like, again, this is not an everyday look, Jason. But it's
I woke up this way, right?
Yeah. Like,
I woke up.
But it just gave me permission to just be me. And yes, it was also after a place that I had like more credibility so it's funny because still it's not something I do on purpose, but it's just my natural behavior. If I go into a certain conversation and we're really silly but then as we get more serious, something turns in my brain and inside of me that I'm like, now we're being, but I'm not doing it on purpose. Now it's like this, oh, okay, we're being serious. Let's talk about the serious thing. Then we're done. And then we're back to being kind of more silly.
Right.
But I think a lot of people get confused when women especially behave that way because they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do with you.
That's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like, what is this going on here?
Yeah. So I think for me, for sure, as more time has gone on, that I've found that I've given myself more permission to be me because I have so much street cred of my business, my personal life, that I have nothing to prove to anyone but me anyway. But
that's maturity. You've always had this very unique way about you that you got away with things that no other person I've ever met have been able
to do. Like what?
Saying whatever you want, doing whatever you want, and laughing like that and saying, oh, saying
something ridiculous and then silly laughing. And that's not an act. That's just me genuinely
that's just like,
responding.
All right, here I am. Whether it's at a bar or a nightclub or dinner or whatever, it doesn't make a difference.
We've been in all these
scenarios. So me is a very fluid thing, but for you it has not been, right? So I think of, if you ask me that question, right, who's me versus today versus then, did I know? I think younger people, which is what we're trying to help understand, is that it's fluid.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, it hasn't been as fluid.
Say that differently.
I just kind of think when you're younger, there are certain things that you have to grow through, and for the younger generation, I don't think they dress well.
Yeah.
And I think you need to dress to impress when you're younger, in order to be able to be taken serious enough to put you in the right opportunities.
Well, it reminds me actually of our post-COVID dress code thing we made. I got to send it to you. It's so freaking funny. My brother, who's our marketing guy, created it, and we had so much fun making this thing. But again, it became this combo of how do you teach people of like, where are you crossing a line that it's like almost offensive?
Right.
I got to send it to you. But we did it to the whole theme of Devil Wears Prada. So it's a bunch of Meryl Streep faces that are like,
I love that movie.
It's so funny. But people aren't taught that. But then there's this other extreme. And that's where I think that generally people navigate between these extremes. And it doesn't need to be, but you got to throw a bunch of shit on the wall and see what works.
Right.
So again, when that client, without me asking, gave me that feedback, they were reflecting a mirror to me of you just everything about, like they felt this entirely different presence. And I'm so appreciative that they spoke up.
Yeah.
So I think in part it's great to find and it doesn't mean one person's opinion is the best, but like ask questions from a place of curiosity to people that will give you the real answer of, you know, even in a meeting, take videos of yourself, see what your body language looks like, because you don't know otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what this looks like because I have no freaking idea. But I don't really care, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
So you can be more intentional of how you behave, not from a place of performance, but just to bring your best foot forward. So if someone took just photos of you and say you're super casual, but you're brand new, it's like, would you hire this person?
Probably not.
Yeah. So that's like, I think that's just helpful feedback. And I think too often people take it as negative criticism, but it generally, I think, depends on who it comes from. So does it come from a place of genuine care? Or is the person just busting their chops? Is it said in the right, like, time and place?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of that context is relevant as well.
Do you remember Matt Achanis?
No.
No. Well, anyway, this guy, he was in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And he says that feedback without relationship is harassment.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. And your point is actual.
Unless you're asking for it.
True. And if you have to, and the other part of that
Literally
is,
asking.
Yeah. If you ask for feedback and somebody gives it to you and you do nothing with it,
yeah,
you now don't have permission to ask again.
Yes.
Right. So it's only good if you actually are generally interested in learning what it's going to be and then applying something towards
right.
it. Where has the most growth? If you look back in your whole career, where can you define moments of like surges of things that all of a sudden helped you just blow up? So were there moments or people or time or whatever it was that said, you know, you've had the biggest amount of growth?
I think the reality is the growth came like long after the activity. So you almost like black it out. And people oftentimes see the growth and they're like, what did you do last week that attributed to that? And you're like, dude, that's not how this works.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
And it's not. And I think the other thing is, I think people discount all the small millions of decisions you make on a regular basis, including just like what are your habits? So like when I'm going to bed on a regular interval and getting up at the same time, like I know I'm more likely to have incredible performance in a day. Whereas if I provide myself with no structure, I know I'm going to probably just have lesser performance. If I think about, do I make my bed? Do I put my clothes out the night before? Like there's certain things about like, do I map out when I'm time boxing and like writing out, like even if it's already in the calendar, one of the best habits that I don't actively do all the time, but I know my best performance now more recently is when I write out the day. And so I can literally like mentally, as I'm writing it, I'm like, oh, right, there's this and there's this. So in doing that, there's no time for other bullshit because nothing else fits. Or it's like, I have nothing here. What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing?
We don't have to edit that out, by the way.
No, that's fine. That's how I talk. My favorite word. My favorite word.
My favorite word.
Used in proper context.
That's exactly what was perfect.
Same with my kids. I'm just like, you can swear. Just don't swear at your teacher. Don't swear at the priest. Don't
Or
swear.
me.
And you swear at me.
Yeah.
But it's funny when they're like, I'm really mad. Can I swear? I'm like, swear.
Go away. Do it. You be you.
Feels so good
Yeah.
sometimes. But again, don't swear at your teacher. But I think when I look back, the biggest changes of mindset, don't think about, I think it's a mistake for me to think about like when I had the best results. It's more of like, what was the shift in mindset? It's often following like really shitty periods of life.
Really?
So like, without getting into detail, my dad blew up our whole family's finances. And we went from having gazillions to nothing literally overnight and being like, whoa.
What just happened?
Yeah. And I was like 24, 25. And I was like a puddle of junk for like a year. And then there was like a moment that I just kind of got sick of my own. and like sick of feeling like a victim. And I was like, okay. And then you just start making decisions one day at a time. And I think the biggest mistake, like one of my coaches, Dan Sullivan, talks about is like, none of our goals are too small. Our time frames are just too short.
Right.
So when I think of like the coolest shit that I've done.
Could we just repeat that? Because I think that's really good. So none of our goals are too big.
None of our goals are
too small. What does that even mean? So just
so like some of the coolest stuff that I've done alongside my husband. We're in the process of getting divorced right now, but that I did with him.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's time for a new chapter for both of us. I really believe, and someday maybe he watches this. I think it's good for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, I think people end up quitting when they don't actually do something they enjoy. So I think it's like been such a gift to fall. And so with our career path, to have fallen into something that I genuinely liked that I didn't know if I was going to like. I was 22, having studied psychology and Italian, and studying because you couldn't even start in our office until you pass these exams. I'm on the beach with my golden retriever, and I'm waiting tables at night, and I'm like, how does a mutual fund work and muni bonds? And I'm like,
This doesn't sound like Freud.
I'm just like, but I was like, I just got to pass a test. Like I can do that. And I wasn't interested. And there's some people too, I still see, my siblings included, that they tried to get into the industry and they were like, oh, this is so boring. And I'm like, I promise you the industry is nothing like this.
Right.
Or it doesn't have to be.
No.
And that's what the really cool thing is in this business is you can take it in all regards. Like some people want to be behind the scenes. Some people want to be just front facing. But when we started, we had to do everything.
Yes.
And it was a blessing and a curse, which is, I think, why most people failed out.
Because of the amount of everything they had to do.
All the hats you had to wear to succeed, because no one was doing it for you. And I think that's where part of the mistake, I think today, is there's sometimes a sense of entitlement that someone else should be doing this. And I'm just like, check yourself.
Right. You can do everything.
You can,
yeah,
but you don't have to do it forever. So it's also such a gift, just like an undergraduate degree in like liberal arts, to like be almost forced to try on things that you're like, I'm not interested in that, like sociology or like social science. I'm like, ugh, I'm not interested in this. And some of like the most or philosophical stuff, like philosophy is one of the most fascinating things to me now. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, I just wasn't ready.
Yeah. Well, the teacher appears when the student's ready to learn.
Yeah. One of the most exciting things that I witnessed from a lot of our retired clients is they go back to audit classes, and I get so jealous. I'm like, oh, to go to school but never have to write a paper and like never take a test, but you get to just witness this fascinating conversation that I had no appreciation for when I was 22. Yeah. I think it's another conversation for another day. I don't think people should be going to college when they're 18. Money aside, we're just too young.
I agree.
It's a business.
Well, and knowledge.
That'll
is
be
free.
The next business that we start.
Right.
It's called adulting you.
Adulting. Knowledge is free today, so you can watch a university Yale professor teach anything on YouTube that they want. So why are you paying $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 a year for it? Welcome to Take the Power Back. If you're a student or recent grad looking not to have a career handed to you, you're in the right place. The first and really valuable section inside Take the Power Back by joining the movement is really the inspiration that you get by watching the podcasts of young, successful entrepreneurs that have bet on themselves, that had opportunities in order to be able to take jobs with benefits or $50,000 a year salaries. But what they did is they said, I'm going to pursue something bigger in my life. Entrepreneurship, leadership development, sales, marketing, real estate. And with the amount of inspiration that you can get by actually watching other people that have had success, start to give you a vision for yourself for you to be able to achieve greater things in your life. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, and so one of my things is I challenge not to be challenging. I question not to be questioning, but I'm curious of like, is there a better way we can do this?
Yeah.
But my bigger questions now are around these like huge things like that we just expect. Kids go to college and it's like, if you don't go to college, you go to a trade. And I'm like, that's kind of like, that's just a
green space between.
There's a ton of stuff in between. There's a ton of stuff, but no one talks about it and there's no framework for it. Or there's just a lot of things we're socialized to believe and think. And I just find it interesting. So being a mom and after having my first, and people ask the question, and it's just interesting to me that they're like, and a lot of clients too would say, are you coming back to work? And I'm like, I own this thing, right?
I have no other choice.
But in fairness,
it's not really work. It's life.
Yeah. But in fairness, when other women, especially had their first kid, it would be the first thing that I would think of too. And then I'm like, why the hell do I even ask that? Like, why did I even think that? But we're socialized to believe a lot of stuff. So looping back to one of your questions before about where a lot of women have a harder time or just have a lot of challenges in it, I think it's because there's a lot of this like identity crisis of do I have to be this or that? And it's really challenging to find an environment that adopts, accepts, and wants you to thrive in all aspects of your life. And when we had our first, and my husband Tim, it wasn't like, are you going back to work? Are you? And I was like, ugh.
Yeah, you have to work.
Well, I don't know. It's just, and again, it's. I'm not saying this to make it this like feminist or this isn't fair, but I'm like, this is it's really interesting how we still think like that.
Well, there's something you just said, and I love that because it's empowering. But you said, I'm not going back to work. I own it. There's a difference between ownership and working for something. When you own something, you do still work for it, right?
This is my baby. This is not really my baby. Once you have a baby, like
that's your baby, right? But this is your side.
My first creation.
This is your first creation.
It's not just a boyfriend.
It's
no.
Not. This one's way cooler than a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because it pays.
You're not going to dump it. Ever. You're not like it. No.
Right.
But but it is like a child in a way that it like you develop it and grow it. But then, unlike your baby, you could sell it.
You can sell it, right?
You can sell it, or I think it's just I'm a creator. Like in my essence, like I like taking something that either stinks and making it better, but I really love having not a blank slate. Like even with a lot of renovations I've done, I found like I love a renovation 10 times more than new construction. I think there's just like such a sweetness with remembering what it was like and seeing what you brought it to. But again, it takes way longer than you want it to.
Yeah.
And every renovation is way more expensive than you want it to be as well. So the same thing is true when you're trying to change and move culture. It's a cruise ship. It's not a speedboat.
Right.
And people want the speedboats. And I think a lot of younger people especially have a hard time understanding. And we see this too, sometimes with our team members that are like, I did this thing this quarter. I demand a huge raise. They don't say that, but it's like.
At least annually.
It doesn't work like that.
Right. They're like, I just did this really nice project. I'm like, you got paid to do that too.
Yeah, like that's your job.
That was your job. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, let's see if you can do it again.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So I've talked to a bunch of people that were all a part of C-Town, which is our Charlestown, affectionately known as C-Town. And it was
we had a reputation.
We had a reputation. It was interesting.
There were like 3.5 women, 100 of us.
There was 100 of us.
Average age 24.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And you.
And me, I was the old guy in the group. So, but there was so much success that has come out of that one.
Yeah.
That one place. It was like a factory of wildly successful people. You're one of the top in that list. Why do you think that is? Why do you think, how much of the environment that you were brought into led to you being where you are today? Or is that an accident? Is it the environment? Or do you feel as though you just had that unique ability to do it?
I think I have that unique ability to do it.
I agree.
However, I think the environment supported my unique ability.
How?
So positive peer pressure was like a great attribute. It was work hard, play hard. We were also 22, so we could like party like rock stars and get up at 7 a.m. and work really hard and then go out all night.
If you're going to be stupid, you're going to be tough.
Yeah, like you could do that. And again, we toggled on the edge of appropriateness. It would probably not be okay today because it wasn't okay then. But I think we were like warriors kind of. And we were also like, I can do this. Like I loved I was inspired when in our interview, whether it was you or Larry, it was like, most people fail. And I was like, I don't fail.
I don't do that. It's not
So like, I may not like this, but I'm not going to
Right.
fail.
Right.
And I hadn't been challenged in that way in a while. So it was also for me, it lit a fire that was already like waiting to be ignited inside of me that I hadn't been challenged. I was just like kind of taught how to think or what to, like, again, if you're studying bio-pre-med, like you're just, here's what you need to memorize and what you need to learn.
Take the test.
And so when we're like cold calling and going to lunches and talking in front of people who are way older than us and have way more money than us, and I'm just like, give me a chance. Like it was a cool like social science project that I was like, I don't know how it's going to work out, but like,
I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm just going to do it. And then as you start getting into it, and when you start making some money,
Yeah.
but you're also helping people, I'm like, what a blessing.
Yeah, you got a great, and you own your own business, and you have all this upside opportunity.
And that's what we were told was the opportunity.
Yeah.
But most people failed out. And again, I think most people fail out because they, one, weren't doing the activities that were clear as day that they had to do, and they just weren't doing it.
Right.
They somehow thought they weren't. It's kind of like someone trying to lose weight, and they're like, I go to the gym, and I'm like, what do you do at the gym? Like, I don't do anything. I just go there. Okay.
And I finish my workout with a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Because there were a good amount of people that were just there all the time and lingered, but weren't doing anything. There's people that just expected the results to be too fast.
Yep.
They didn't have enough. I think, again, my success, a lot of it was because I threw way more shit on the wall than anyone else. So I had way more failures faster.
Right. Which is the learning experiences that you put into
Yep.
your quiver to say, these are the building blocks.
And one of my unique abilities is that I don't get discouraged when people say no. Like,
Where'd that come from?
I think that's just me, Jason. I don't know.
So you just, since you've been a kid, it's like,
I think I'm just
No.
like that.
you just don't care.
I just don't care. Yeah, because I think that's where a lot of my, like, people, again, don't know what to do with me because a lot of my confidence comes within me. It doesn't
Right.
come from external. Certainly external, not so much validation, but feedback is helpful and reinforces stuff. Like I joined this entrepreneurial community and strategic coach, Dan Sullivan, in 2017. And every quarter I've been going there. Except in COVID, we did remote. And I would just get this feedback from people without asking for it of like, Carolyn, I have to just tell you, you just bring this energy.
Do.
And I'm not trying to do that.
Right.
But then when you start to get that feedback from people that have nothing to benefit, and that was really cool about that environment because we all do that for each other, including feedback that it's like, I don't think this is serving you and maybe you want to reconsider, but it comes from a place of care. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Some of it's from ego, and you just have to learn to discern of like, I'll just let him talk.
Yeah.
But it's usually him, Jason.
It's not me.
No, not you, but
Just so you know.
it's usually a him pronoun.
Right, okay, well, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
He, him.
So, yeah, I think most people, they're not throwing enough shit on the wall. They're expecting it to happen too fast, or they're just like dejected by rejection or failures instead of being curious about like, what did I learn here? And how can I be maybe more discerning or, I now partner. I didn't on purpose, but my team is made up of everyone that's nothing like me.
That's true.
There's just one me.
Yeah.
There's plenty of me.
Right.
Like we don't need more brainstormers and ideation people, but it's also then creating an environment that people appreciate and can anticipate what the other person's going to be like. And we also are teaching that, like the whole kind of psychology aspect. Like I've made put a lot of time, effort, money, energy into educating our team about how that works better for a team. So we can try to be more discerning, meaning I don't need to be more discerning.
Right.
I let JR and Jen be the discerning ones.
I think this is important because if you're a young person, you're watching this, and I used to feel this way, I would almost get intimidated by people that had your gift.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning never uncomfortable in a room. The confidence comes from within. Not everybody grows up that way. And that doesn't mean everybody has to be that way in order to be successful.
No.
You can be you and however you are. I've said to you before, I'm an introvert. People think of me as an extrovert. Not even a little bit. This takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And people will define it. but that doesn't mean you're a success or not.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing, like success is honestly like such a loaded word.
It is.
Like, what the heck does, and that's where I didn't have an appreciation for that until not so much older, but just more life experience. And then starting to wear different hats, including becoming a mom, now getting divorced. And it's like looking at what do I actually value the most?
Right. What do you value the most?
Freedom.
I picture Braveheart. Freedom.
No, but it's, freedom of,
blue face.
and this is like a strategic coach, freedom of time, money, relationship, purpose, like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think generally people only think of success as money. And as financial advisors, we know there's a certain amount of money, income, and assets that you probably need to get the lifestyle that you really actually want for yourself. But everyone's definition is different. So like my business partner, Jen, like when she looks at her vision, she wants to give up all of her earthly possessions, live on a boat and travel around the world.
That's cool.
And she could live out of a backpack. I'm like, I could do that. That sounds awful.
Yeah. It's going to be a 4-star hotel. That's camping.
Well, no, that's you. I could do glamping though. Glamping is super fun for me. So that's where too, like, until I've done different life experiences, like I actually found just because I can afford some of the fancier stuff, it's actually, I don't like it more than the less fancy stuff.
Right.
So, again, it's making more values-based decisions instead of like kind of more lazy just because I can, I'm doing it. But that's just for me. I'm not saying you should do that. Yeah, I'm just sharing. Like that's what I found.
Different.
Yeah, everyone's different. To each his own.
Yeah.
So I think like a great thing to do is to define success for yourself. But when you're younger, I'm just like, dude, fail faster, fail more, try a bunch of get some great mentors. And sometimes you'll also get mentors that end up being not good.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Choose the ones that have your best interest for what you want.
Ideally there's a win-win there too.
Yeah.
Not just a neutral for them and win for you. So like between you and Larry, like it worked out for me that what was working for me was also working. Like there was win-wins on the table that when I win, you win. Right. Like that's like a real sweet spot. And a lot of what I talk about when my younger self, I attribute the success to I was either smart or dumb enough to just do what I was told.
Right. Right.
So instead of trying to understand why is this work,
everything,
no.
do what you're told. Do a little bit.
Yeah, like I would ask questions from curiosity, but I wasn't questioning the whole system. Now, I question the whole system. No, it's more like I'm more like, why do we do this way? Does it actually serve us, or I don't know. So. But that's just like how do I make it better? Not just for me.
Yeah.
Like my curiosity and concern is how do we make it better for everyone? Or it's not that exciting for me.
So we're talking about Gen Z. You took a path. Again, it's a squiggly line, right? So I go pre-med, I go psychology, I end up in financial services. I now run a business, right? I run a real estate empire a little bit.
I would call it an empire, but it's pretty cool.
A massive financial services business with very unique, right? Like you said, an all women by design type of thing. If you're the 22-year-old, you're giving advice to the 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Right. And as you know, my passion is I think this generation's amazing.
Yeah.
They're unique to me. They have what I think you had at 22.
Yeah.
But I think the narrative is wrong on them. And I think that we both agree that the education system's a little screwed up today, where we need people to go into entrepreneurship. But it doesn't necessarily mean you stay there, but one way or the other, what advice would you give to them?
So I think even if you're intrigued by entrepreneurship, like work within an entrepreneurial company.
Right.
So what will make you nuts is if you're remotely interested in entrepreneurialism to get into some corporate job. Like you want to blow your head off, like work for the government or work for like the
post office.
Like just somewhere, but just anywhere that there's just red tape. And red tape isn't bad, but it's like if you have ideas and you're not in a place that, never mind they're not listening, but they may actually consider it, or it's going to take 100 years to implement it, like it's probably just not the right place for you.
Right.
And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like we need people that want to be in government, and we need people that want to work at these companies that for me would be so boring.
Right, right.
But for other people that makes them happy. And that is like the certainty like makes them thrive. I thrive in uncertainty.
But not all. Have you always thrived in uncertainty? See, that's your unique ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's part of my, I love like Colby is one of the assessments.
Yeah.
I love assessments.
Yeah.
Assessments, and I've loved assessments since like 17 magazine when it's like A, B, C, or D, A, B, C. Like I love that. I think it's the psychology, just intrigue.
Yeah.
It's not about like, oh, because I studied it. But it's like just realizing, oh my God, not everyone thinks like this.
Yeah.
And
What's your Colby?
I'm a 2-3-10-3.
You gotta define what that means for people.
So the first part is about fact finder.
Yep.
So it's like 0 to 10. Do you want and need little information to tons of information?
You're a 2.
I'm a 2.
You
So
don't
I'm
need a
like,
lot of
I
information.
literally, if I see a piece of paper with too many small letters, I'm like,
I don't wanna read
someone
it.
else, please
Right.
just tell me what it says.
Yeah.
Show me where to sign. Someone fill it out. I can't.
I don't do that.
However, that doesn't mean I don't value detail. I actually expect, demands, blah, 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 nitty gritty. I'm
Right.
a not perfectionist, but I care about all the
But you're
details.
quick to take data and make decisions.
I
good at it.
I don't want you to give me a bunch of data, but I'm going to give you a bunch of data. I want a person that's a 8 to 10 fact finder who is like, thank you for all this
Thank you for
data
the
and
information.
detail. And I want them to take it and marinate in it.
Right.
I'm like, don't give it to me. I want to know that you're doing that. So it's not about,
interesting.
yeah, I'm like, don't give it to me, but understand that I understand how important and valuable this is.
Right.
And let me give it to someone that's like, yes.
I'll
Like the
take it.
person, like you think of like the, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. You know, the woman that like was doing all the like microfiche and she takes like the huge pile of papers and is like, thank you. And I'm like, "Ugh." But someone loves that.
That's
The
amazing.
second thing is about how I'm not going to say it right. It's like how you organize systems. And
process.
mine's more like you just keep the process going. But I'm quick to say this is screwed up. There has to be a better way. And I can fix stuff, but it drains my energy to do it.
Right.
So on my team, I've done a ton of stuff, but I'm so psyched when it's done because I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. I went next.
So again, that's like a big reflection back to when we were a new advisor. I'm pretty good. Like this sounds like I'm full of myself. I'm good at a lot of stuff,
Right.
but I don't like most of it.
Interesting.
So Colby actually shows where you get a lot of your energy. My biggest energy is in, what's the third one? I'm going to forget what the heck it's called. The third one is quick start.
Yep.
So
That's an important one. It's for an entrepreneur. You got to be willing to get up and go, do
But
it.
many people think that it requires it to be high, and it's not. Because there's plenty of entrepreneurs I've met that their quick start is low, but their fact finder is high, and then they end up having someone that they hire or they partner with that's big on that.
Yeah.
I'm almost so high that we can't have more people like it because it gets kind of dangerous. Because you'll be like, hey, Sino, you want to? And I go, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what are we doing?
The vision gets ahead of the process and execution.
Yeah,
Right.
of like,
Which could be a problem.
so, and that's also representative in the other assessment that I love that I think is more tangible for teams and everyday people. It's called Working Genius. And my strength and my favorite thing is in like the wonder and ideation part. Whereas 95% of my team, none of them are green there.
Right.
And often when you're that kind of person, now I just have more appreciation that I come off crazy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I just, instead of getting defensive about it, which I used to be,
Yeah.
because I've always been like this, I expect it.
Yep. You're like, okay.
And sometimes it
that
is a
makes
little
sense.
crazy,
Right.
but I'm like, just because I'm brainstorming doesn't mean I'm suggesting.
No.
Just brainstorming. So I have to almost preface that every time I speak.
And then you get very serious. So there's
Yeah.
a time for that. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, that's how you formulate thoughts and that's how you move forward with action.
Well, and then, yes, but it's not I move it forward. I bring it to our team, not the whole team necessarily, but our leadership team. And it's the discerning folks on our team that will ask a bunch of questions to help vet out, is this a now thing? Is this a later thing? And again, like compliance, they protect me from myself.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people get frustrated with their results because of their own self-inflicted timelines and deadlines. On
Yes.
things,
And
right?
we overestimate what we can do in a day. We underestimate what we can do in a year.
Yep.
And again, and that's a really cool thing that
Say that again. You underestimate what you can do.
overestimate what you can do in a day, a
and you
week, a short time,
underestimate what
and
you can do
way
in a year.
underestimate what you can do in a year.
You could take a piece. That's a piece.
Yeah. So one of the best parts of the strategic coach and EOS framework is, and I have to keep reminding myself, because just because you hear something once doesn't mean you've learned it. And just because you've implemented it doesn't mean it's for life. You have to keep coming back.
All of it.
And I find in my personal coach, accountability coach, Lindsay, she knows every 18 months I kind of just self-sabotage, blow everything up and start over again.
That's fun.
Because I think I like the chaos.
Yeah,
I get bored.
Right.
My other friend Kevin,
Create your
you
own
know
chaos.
Kev,
Yeah, Kev.
Kevy Cakes, he'll say you get bored and you buy a property or have a baby. And I'm like, oh,
Oh, jeez.
I kind of like chaos.
Yeah.
But it's now again, it's a good reflection though of how do I do that in a self-serving way.
Right.
Because it's not about blowing things up, but it's how do I reshuffle things? Because you can't, if you want to get to next levels, you can't do the same thing forever and expect this 10x growth.
Right.
So often I think when I get kind of sick of a plateau, I kind of blow it all up and then I go, all right,
Now, how do we?
what
grow
am I going to
again?
invite back into this next thing?
Yeah.
Kind of like COVID. I thought that was one of the coolest parts of COVID. When all of a sudden the calendar, I have hockey kids. So my kids, not only they play hockey, but they're each three of them on two teams. And they also play basketball and they also play soccer. And I was like, oh my
How
God.
am I going to manage this?
It was gross. Anyone that sees my personal calendar, which is separate from work, is like, ugh.
How did you deal with that?
Ugh. But in COVID, all of a sudden the whole calendar got wiped out. You were like, oh, this is interesting.
I can put more pieces in there.
Not even more pieces. It was more of what do I intentionally want to bring back and what do I want to leave in the pre-COVID world. So it's just about intentionality.
So let's go back a little further, right? Because you grew up in Milton.
Yeah.
Right. Were you a good student in high school? Talk about your upbringing. Do you think some of that led to your success? Was your parents good, supportive people around entrepreneurship, stuff like that? Talk what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would necessarily lead or detract because again, I think some of my best successes came from really crappy experiences that weren't unplanned. That instead for me was how do I take the control back of my life and do the only thing again that's in your control is your behavior. That's it.
Could capture that. The only thing in your life you control is your behavior.
Which is not my trademark. Obviously, it's taken from someone else. But the only thing in your control is your behavior. And that's the biggest elephant in the room.
Right.
In every industry, in every goal, in every success story. It's just what did you choose to do? But there's.
But this is important, right? Because in order for that to be the biggest elephant in the room, your success is contingent upon
my decisions,
the choices that you make and the decisions you make. And we as people, I think, know when we make bad decisions.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even bad. And that's where I don't think that when bad things happen, it's not even, oh, I wish that didn't happen. And I think that's again one of those universal laws of equally at the same time of something that you attribute bad charge to, there's something really good of how it's actually serving you.
Right.
So and I recall just that feeling when I was turning the corner when the shit hit the fan with my family after probably a year and after being like a puddle on the couch and being like, oh my God, what's happening? And it was just well, Carolyn, nothing's going to change for you or for anyone unless you do something. Not because I was trying to save everyone, but I was I'm just sick of feeling like this. And it was let's start making some different choices and getting back in a routine and creating boundaries of when people can call with all the family stuff and just doing what I could do.
That's important, right? Because when I think a lot of times Larry says fly the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, the whole adage of why planes crash, but family disasters and stuff that's going on in your life, I think people let them become excuses because they don't create their own boundaries. And that's something that I think everybody has to go through to be able to say, look, the best thing you can do for your family is to achieve and make yourself happy internally with your own success.
Yeah. Well, we were victims to things that happen, but at a certain point, it's am I going to choose to be a victim the rest of my life? Or am I going to choose to now be the victor in my own story? And you have to make that choice. Like, no one's coming to save you.
So good.
No one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save you.
And you're just, every decision you make, you're making a bet.
Yep.
Every decision, including like with your health. Like some of the people that have made the best choices ever with their health, they die from some weird thing that you're like, that was so unfair.
Yeah.
But we're just making bets of like, what do I think is going to lead to the outcome that I actually want in light of the information I have? And we just have to be honest with ourselves of, am I helping myself or am I maybe hurting myself?
Right.
And that doesn't mean like we're freaking human beings. We're not robots.
No.
So it's not like, you know better, you shouldn't do that. So give yourself some grace.
Right.
But I think that's where if we surround ourselves in a community of people, whether it's your family, your friends, your colleagues, and they evolve over time, but to find people that genuinely have genuine care for you and your best interests. And ideally there's some win-win there.
Yep.
Including with just like your friends. Like your friends benefit when you're in a better headspace than when you're not. Because then you're you of why you became friends in the first place. It's kind of like it's a buzzkill when you're all in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But you're not trying to force someone out of it. But I don't think that there's one way that leads to success. I think it's all about I think success is a choice.
Interesting. It is a choice, right? Because it's about behaviors.
Yeah.
And if you choose your right influences and you choose your right behaviors, it becomes a choice for you.
Yeah.
Do you think most people don't believe that?
Yeah.
It's sad.
I think it's sad. So that's where one of the things that I love to do is just share different parts of my story to try to just inspire people that it is a choice and that you just need to put one foot in front of the other one day at a time. I was in Laos a couple of years ago and there was this mountain we were climbing.
Laos is a country, by the way.
It's a country, Jason.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a tiny little country.
Tiny little country,
And the guy leading the group that morning, Mike, and I guess he's like known for this. It was my first trip, so I didn't know any better. And Mike's like, yeah, we're going to just take this little hike to see this like beautiful sunrise. And he's like, maybe have some water ahead, but you shouldn't need water.
10 miles later.
It was a 3-hour, it was probably like two-ish hours straight vertical in 90 degrees, 100%
Sweating.
humidity. And I was in the middle of the pack. And I've never hiked a day in my life. Mm-hmm. Apparently I'm a hiker, though. Like, I like it. Yeah, I didn't know it. I never tried it. Yeah. So I thought I hate hiking, but I'd never tried it. Yeah. I would challenge people, how many things do you say you don't like that you've never even tried?
That's true. Like sushi.
Yeah.
Eat sushi. It's good. It's
so stupid. So anyway, I'm in the middle of the pack. And at this point, I see this sign that says, you're halfway there. Don't quit. And I was like, I'm only halfway. Oh no.
Yeah, I get so much more
and I made myself a video and I'm going through this like life stuff and I'm like aware that I'm about to get divorced and I'm in this like foreign country and I'm like, what am I doing? And I made myself this video that I just said to myself, first I said, this is really interesting because I am not a hiker. And here I am stuck on this mountain. Right. But anyway.
Halfway there.
But I'm halfway there and there's half the group's ahead of me, half the group's behind me. I'm by myself, but I know that the people up top are like, come on, we're waiting for you. The people behind me, if I slow down, are going to be there and encourage me to keep going. And all I can do, I'm discouraged when I look up because it's vertical and I'm like, but it's like, Carolyn, just look down and just put one foot in front of the other. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. But like, if you keep going, you're going to get there.
Always.
And you're going to be psyched when you get there and there's going to be a celebration. And it was one of the most like fascinating, never mind experiences, but like literally just beautiful, amazing. Like you're never going to regret the workout that you do. Nope. You might regret the one that you don't. And you have to just assess like, what's the possible goodness that comes from this decision or what could go wrong. And I was like, I really can't think of anything that's going wrong. So I'm not hurt.
Right.
I'm not like there's no downside. Like just keep
going. We
going.
live in a great country. We have surrounded with great people.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Yeah.
But there are some times that you're in certain decisions that you're like, am I actually risking too much? And the right decision for you at that time is to stop.
Right.
So I think it's a great filter that I got from a marketing perspective of people saying like what may be helpful versus may it be harmful. And I try to just apply it to as much as I can, as quickly as I can when I get stuck. But sometimes you do. You just get stuck and you got to give yourself grace.
But one foot in front of the other will always get you unstuck.
That's it.
If you continue to put one foot.
You want to be stuck? Just sit still.
That's right.
But sometimes sitting still is a strategy as well.
It is. It can help you get through some stuff.
But it's good to just talk things out with people that not just have care, but have perspective in the thing that you're stuck in.
Yeah.
Maybe have some experience in it. But then if you're going to get someone's advice and you're not going to implement, like information without implementation is irrelevant.
It'll drive you nuts.
Don't come to me for advice and not take it. Or tell me what you did or did. Don't come back.
So what's next for Carolyn?
Getting divorced, Jason.
I know that. But what's the future?
So I feel like that I've been in this plateau place, and I'm looking up and I'm like, what is the next mountain I want to climb?
Yeah.
And truth be told, it's starting things that are not in financial services per se, because my unique ability, I just happen to be a financial advisor, but my unique ability, and I've gotten a lot of this feedback from my peers too, who I've informally coached or just being friends with them. And they're like, dude, you know that your unique ability isn't about being a financial advisor. Right. I'm like, oh,
really?
But I'm just like good at that.
Yeah.
So something just about inspiring, encouraging, probably women. Again, women led by design, but not women only.
Yeah.
But it's probably more inspiring for women and encouraging them to positive action to lead to the outcomes that they want.
Love it.
And creating just good community of good people. So I don't know exactly what that looks like. But again, Jason, like you can't put me in a box. There's not like one or two things.
Or a
like,
bucket.
There's
no
like
bucket.
Good luck to you.
Fit.
There's like 10 different things I want to do, but it's again that discerning of what's strategic and also what do I have the capacity for, and defining success at this next level. And but there's bigger things ahead in my future I haven't even started yet, which is really cool. So as much as it's a discouraging or kind of yucky period, it's also, I recognize there's new chapters happening, and I'm just celebrating all the goodness that was in the old chapters and looking forward to what's next. Because it's always, when I look back at every kind of crap period of life, like what has followed, not immediately, but ultimately is so awesome and beautiful. But you can't see that when you're in the rough of it. But I have complete trust that the future is so bright. And I'm encouraged to like reconnect with people like you and be like, look at us now. Isn't this funny?
Well, first, let me be the first to say thank you for doing this for me.
Yeah, happy to.
I appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success.
Thanks.
20 years later, maybe I probably thought you're exactly where I thought you'd be.
I should have worn that pink suit for you.
You should have worn that pink suit. And here's to 20 more years of friendship.
Awesome.
And 20 more years of success for you. So thank you.
Love that. Same.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jay.